In this video, I'm going to show you how I make miniature tiered cakes. We'll cover them in buttercream, in rolled fondant, and in poured fondant, which I don't have here right now. I'll have to show you how it's made, and it needs to be used right after making it. I have yellow cake that I've baked inside of a sheet pan, a chocolate cake, fragments of a chocolate cake, also baked in a sheet pan. We have cake boards. After they're done, they can be transferred to a drum or a display board of your choice, but this is what I use to ice them with. The foil covering helps them to release, and they can be reused just for that purpose. They're not reused for anything else, just to smooth out the cakes. If I were to use the cardboard drums, I'd have to toss them because the grease soaks into the cardboard. I've got stainless steel cutters. You can use any size you want, pretty much any shape. You want to stick with shapes that don't have a whole lot of crevices. I've got some firm or stiff, medium to stiff buttercream here. The same consistency in the bag. This is going to be for filling the layers. I've got thinned out buttercream. I thinned it out with a bit of water to a thin consistency for coating the tiers. Icing smoother, bucket scraper, whatever you want to call it. Anything with a straight edge will work. Something small, you can even use a credit card, a nice clean sanitized credit card. Spatula just to have it there. I do have angled spatulas to help apply the icing, dry towel and a damp towel. Okay, here we go. I'm going to attempt to get 3 full sets of layers to complete 3 different tiers. One for buttercream, one for rolled fondant, and one for the poured fondant. Normally I do 2 of these thin layers per tier. I got some of the smaller foil cards, cake cards, in order to do the smaller tiers. The largest one will overhang this one, but I'll do the smaller ones on these here. They tend to bend, so they're not always perfectly straight, and you can adjust that once you assemble the tiers together. We'll start with the bottom tier. The flattest part down. If you have a filling, you can actually split and tort these, or tort and fill these. But for this tutorial, just so you'll get the idea of what I'm talking about, how you go from there is completely up to you. This technique I definitely use on the chocolate. Like I said, I do have issues with crumbs. And then the flattest side up, like you would any other cake, a regular size cake. I'm going to fill in any gap with the stiffer buttercream. And then with the thinner buttercream, I'm going to start my crumb coat. Can you see? See how thin it is? I'm trying to make one complete pass, but it's not always possible. And it just eliminates the ridges or too many ridges. Whoa, Bessie. Then this will go into the freezer. If you're doing a whole lot of them, you definitely want to position them in your freezer, first in, first out type setup, so that you don't confuse the first one with the last one. If you have a tender cake, you definitely want to use this technique. I attached the bottom tier as it was moving around with a bit of icing. You don't have to put a whole lot down there, but once it's frozen, you can actually simply just pop it off of the board.